Hi everyone, Chris from Profit Boss here. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how much it costs to go to the Nurburgring. Welcome back to the channel where I talk everything money. I'm a massive car, bike, truck, and even plane enthusiast, so if you share a passion for any of those, you might just like the content I have planned for the channel. Of course, I'd be silly not to ask you to subscribe now, but instead of asking, I'm gonna beg it, so please hit that subscribe button, or don't, see if I care. I've got a lot to cover in this video, including 4 ways you can get to the ring from the UK and the costs involved for each method. I'll also be covering costs for accommodation, including a low budget and a high budget option, how much it costs for laps now in 2020, whether that's tourist driving or booking onto a track day. Then I'm going to total up everything to give you a rough guide on how much you should budget. As an extra bonus, I'm going to give you 4 things you can do in the local area when the track gets closed. And let's face it, it gets closed quite often now, especially when they let the Megane drivers loose on the track. And finally, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you details on how you can win this book. To be eligible, all you need to do is live in the EU. I prefer it if you're in the UK, and then I won't have to spend so much on postage. So make sure you watch to the end so you can see how you can enter to win it. So starting with the options you have to get to the petrolhead's holy ground. Number 1, you can drive to Dover and get the ferry to Calais. The crossing takes about an hour and a half on the ferry and it'll set you back around £150. I'm sure it used to be cheaper than that, but obviously with coronavirus, they might now have to limit the amount of places on board. So of course, that's going to drive the prices up. Number 2 is also going to be a ferry-based method. This time, you're going to have to drive over to Hull. If you live in Hull already, ka-ching, you've just saved yourself some petrol money. From Hull, you'll be able to grab the overnight ferry, which costs anywhere between £300 to £500. But for this example, we'll say it's going to be £400 as a safe estimate. The crossing takes around 11.5 hours, but you'll be asleep for most of it, so it's really no big deal. Going that way will knock an hour driving off your trip once you get onto the continent, because Rotterdam is closer to the ring than Calais or Dunkirk. Number 3 would be getting the Eurotunnel from Folkestone to Calais, and that's going to take around 35 minutes and cost you £140. This is my personal preferred route when taking your own car for cost and convenience. Which brings me on to number 4, which is for those who aren't bothered about taking their own car and instead just want to rent a car when they get there. If you book around 3 months in advance, you can get yourself a flight from Stansted Airport over to Cologne for around £60 return. That flight takes just an hour and 20 minutes, so saves you massively on travelling time. Whilst checking on the Six rental website, you can get yourself a little Polo or equivalent for around 25 quid a day. Or if your budget allows, you can get something like a BMW M135i for around £56 a day. Of course, this means you'll have to hire a track car when you arrive at the ring, but I'll do a separate video for that because there's a lot to cover with all the different hire car companies with options and prices involved in that. Moving on to accommodation, let's start with the low budget option. Based on a long weekend trip of Friday to Monday, a 3-night stay in a 1-bedroom apartment is going to set you back between £130 to £170. To get it that cheap, you're going to have to look at booking places between 3 to 10 miles away from the ring. If your budget allows though, and you want to be on the doorstep of the track, you're going to want to stay in the Lindner Congress Hotel. 3 nights in the hotel on a quieter weekend where there aren't any big race events on, you're going to be looking at around £600. On the busier race weekends like DTM, you're going to be looking at more like £1,000 for 3 nights. Next up, I want to talk about how much you need to budget for your laps. The cheapest laps available are when it's the midweek tourist sessions run between Monday to Thursday. These are €25 or around £23.50 in English money, depending on the exchange rate at the time, of course. If you want to get some laps in between Friday and Sunday, they're going to set you back €30 each or around £27.50. If it's your first trip and you're on a tight budget, I'd recommend at least budgeting for around 4 laps. Comment below to let me know how many laps you've done around the ring, and PlayStation laps don't count. Just to interrupt our cost breakdown really quick, a top tip is if you've never been before, make sure you check your tyres, suspension, brakes, engine, etc. and make sure you've got enough to get you there, do your laps around the most challenging track in the world, and get you back home and still have a car that's all in one piece. Also, make sure you stick to the right and indicate to the right to let faster cars overtake you. Treat it as a public road and never hog the left side of the track. This is a big thing that causes many accidents. If you're unlucky and you have an accident, get the car off the track, get out of your car as fast as you can as soon as it's clear to do so, and jump over the barrier and get away from the track. Sorry, I had to get that in there. Another way to pay for laps, if you happen to be an experienced ring driver, is get yourself booked onto a track day. These start at £650, which sounds like a lot of money. However, if you do 24 laps on the day, it actually works out cheaper than doing individual weekend tourist laps. I'll pop a link in the top corner now for a recent road trip I did in my old Seat Leon Cupra RST, so you can see just how much quality of a lap you get on a track day. Okay then, let's now total up what you should budget for a trip. If you go via my preferred method, the Eurotunnel, that's going to set you back £140. Of course, you're going to have to add your fuel in there, but with everyone watching this video having different miles per gallon from their cars and traveling different distances to get to Folkestone or Dover, I'm going to just put £200 as a rough guide, but obviously that's something you should work out yourself. Accommodation for the Friday to Monday, I'm going to set at a rough guide of £150 for 3 nights. The budget for your laps will obviously depend entirely on how many you plan to do. For this example, we're going to say 6, which is going to come in £165 plus an estimated £40 in fuel, giving us a total of £205 for your laps and fuel. That brings us to a total of £695. Of course, if you're wanting to fit stickier tyres specifically for your trip and get yourself booked to a track day, that's going to increase your cost dramatically. That's something I've done in the past, but I don't think my bank account thanked me for it. Time for the bonus part of this video then, and that's things you can do when the track's closed. Karting is number 1 on the list, and this can be done at the Nurburgring complex itself, with 10 minutes setting you back just €13. They've got some super high-tech electric go-karts which provide instant acceleration and are really good fun. The second thing you can do when the track's closed is visit the Gile suspension bridge. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It holds the record for the longest suspension bridge in Germany at 360 meters long and is a breathtaking 100 meters in the air. Maybe not the best thing to do if you're scared of heights. Coming in at number 3 is another name I'm going to struggle to pronounce, so I'll just say go tobogganing. It's just 30 minutes from the Nurburgring and it's a few euros for each go, and it's another fun, great activity you can do when the track's closed. And finally, number 4 is the Esports Lounge. Located across from the main Nurburgring complex, you can chill out here and grab a few drinks, or if it's before 5 PM, you can go and have some fun on their full motion driving simulators. You can get on those for 15, 20 or 30 minutes, with prices being 15, 20 or 25 euros respectively. Moving on to this video's giveaway, all you need to do to be in with a chance of winning the book I showed you earlier in the video is like this video and comment below. Then once the video has 100 likes, I'll pick someone randomly from the comments and send it straight to you. Oh, and if you want to share this video to all your mates on Facebook, I'd be forever grateful. I'll see you in the next one.